Well, here's what we do. I told you I've got a friendship with Ted Cruz, the senator, and he came and was in the Alamo Lounge with me, and Elaine has maintained that friendship as well. He's joining us right now. Let's go to him, and let's talk about this with the Senator Ted Cruz, with Trey Ware and Sean Rima. And Ted, how are you this morning, man? You doing all right?
I am doing terrific. Good morning. Good to be with you guys.
Good to be with you, sir.
I appreciate you being here. I'll tell you what I said when all this happened. Of course, you know my situation. Both my kids are gone, and so I said, look, if a kiddo says, "Daddy, let's go to the beach," or if you got a chance to go to the beach, you take it and you go, because you never know. You know, one of my biggest sayings, Ted, and you know this, is the only thing I'm certain about life is that life is uncertain. So if you got a chance to go, then you go. And you don't, there's nothing you could have done. You're not going to come back to Texas, turn the power on, or whatever. I think you did the right thing. Both of us supported you very openly and clearly on the air. And so, I don't bury your head and walk around on this deal. Hold your head up high. Your kiddos and your wife needed you to go on vacation, and that's fine.
Well, look, it was a bit of silliness and a bit of craziness from the media and a whole lot of people playing political games. But listen, you're exactly right that every one of us with a family, we've got a responsibility to our kids and we got a responsibility to our families. And last week, Texas got hit hard by two storms. 4 million people across the state lost power. Heidi and I were among them. We had no power at our house for 2 days. We had no heat. We lost our hot water, then we lost all our water. That was the case for millions of Texans across the state. And so after a couple of days, as we're sitting there shivering, our daughter said, look, let's go somewhere warm. Let's go somewhere where there's power. And school had just been canceled. So they were with some of their friends from school. And so they were pitching their friends' parents at the same time saying, let's all of us get out of here. And as you know, we wanted to be good parents. And so we said yes. We checked, and actually the flights and hotels were relatively inexpensive. And so we did it to try to take care of our kids. In hindsight, I think it was obviously a mistake in that it gave the knuckleheads ammunition to just throw predictable attacks directed at me, directed at every conservative. And so listen, most of the work that one does as a senator during a crisis like this is on the phone, is talking to various state leaders and local leaders and federal leaders. And between the phone and internet and Zoom and email, that's for the past year, a lot of what I've done has been remote working during COVID. And so my view
here's the point. You didn't have power in Houston, but you had it in Cancun. You're probably more effective down there.
In a rational world, there's something to be said for that. But this was not about rationality. This was about, number one, the press is suffering from a medical condition. It's called Trump withdrawal.
Yeah, no kidding.
For 4 years, they injected their hatred of Trump into their bloodstream like heroin. And they're having DTs. They don't know what to do with themselves because they don't have Trump to attack every day. And so for a week, the coverage of this thing got a little bit absurd. It was, and the media just turned it into a circus. And look, it's not lost on me that they have an agenda. There's a reason why my taking my kids to the beach is a clutch your pearls national scandal. And Governor Andrew Cuomo's having a policy of sending people with COVID to nursing homes, which killed thousands or tens of thousands of seniors, and then lying about it to a Department of Justice investigation to cover it up. Nothing to see there. That's not news. They don't want to actually cover policies that potentially result in the deaths of citizens because, he's a Democrat, so nothing he does can be wrong. The hypocrisy was pretty rich this past week.
Sean, go ahead.
Yeah, because I first off, I'm a great admirer of yours, sir. I really have a great deal of respect for you. And, do you think the media reaction would have been the same if Joaquin Castro had gotten on a plane and gone to Cancun with his family? Probably not.
Of course not. Of course not. Okay, I'll give you one of the more stupid moments of the media obsession, which is our dog Snowflake. So some reporter came by our house with a camera and took a picture of the front of the house, which I'm not thrilled about pictures of the front of the house because, I mean, we have serious security threats, and so that's less than ideal, and Snowflake is in the front door. Now, the time Snowflake was there, number one, he had a dog sitter. Nobody leaves their dog home alone. Number two, power and heat was back on. Power and heat came on as we were leaving. So he was in the house. Most days, he's at the front door barking at any dog that walks down the sidewalk and happy as can be. And you had all these lefties screaming, call the SPCA, it's animal cruelty.
Hillary was one of them.
Hillary was one of them.
She said, never trust a politician that you can't leave with your dog. You can't trust your dog to. And I'm thinking, have you seen your husband lately? So, I mean, we got a lot of discussion on that, but let me just put it this way. I heard from people, because this show's all over the place. I heard from people, Ted, in liberals, leftists, in New York and in California and a couple other states, and my answer was, what do you care? First of all, you're not here in Texas. This has no effect on you or anything else, whether Ted Cruz is here or he's in Ohio or in Cancun or in France. That has no impact on you. And by the way, you guys from New York, I'm hearing from, you got a big problem up there. You got a governor that may have been involved in some level of crime or criminal activity here by putting people in these nursing homes to die and then lying to the government about it. So you better be focused on that and not what's happening here with a senator in Texas right now.
Well, this past weekend it warmed up in Texas, and so I took Snowflake out on a walk. And he was happy as can be, and I got to tell you, he doesn't realize he's suddenly become an internet celebrity.
Famous.
He was happily whizzing on the lawn and having a good time walking, and I was sort of laughing at.
Did you tip the mariachis?
Some sunglasses.
Did you tip the mariachis?
Well, we weren't there when they came. So,
is that right?
We were not home. I'll actually give so it was, I think it was the socialists or the anarchists, or it was some left-wing group that was protesting our house. Sadly, they started doing that more and more.
Sure.
I do have to give credit. Whoever came up with the ideas of the mariachis, that was funny. I laughed out loud. I was like, okay, that's pretty good. I like mariachis. I might well have tipped them, and I enjoy listening to mariachi music.
You should have gone out. If you'd have been there, you could have gone out with a margarita and just sat down and hey, it's rock on, 20, guys. Great.
Yeah. Can you play Rancho Grande, please? I want to hear something great.
Do you think? I mean, in the larger sense, we are living in a cancel culture, and they certainly want to cancel you. I mean, every day they're working on that, and you know that. Where does this cancel culture go eventually? I mean, it's getting pretty intense now. Where does it gets worse, doesn't it, in your opinion?
Well, yes. I think the hard left, number one, they feel resurgent. They feel dominant right now. They've got the White House. They have both houses of Congress. They have media. They have big business. They have big tech. And so we're in a period right now that is reminiscent of the end scene of every one of the Godfather movies. You think about how all three of those movies, what does it end with? It ends with Michael Corleone settling his debts and eliminating every one of his enemies. And that's where the left is. They're trying to kill everyone they perceive as an enemy. That means Donald Trump. The whole impeachment nonsense was an effort to try to kill Trump because they hate Trump. That is their defining characteristic. All of the attacks directed at me are exactly that. But it's not just Trump or me or anyone else. They hate the 75 million Americans who voted for Trump. They hate conservatives across the country. They believe we are deplorable. That's not just insults that they hurl. They believe it. And so they're trying to erase, to cancel. You see big media doing things, or big tech doing things like taking Parler, just swiftly, every big tech company operating at once saying Parler is taken down. We don't want a place where conservatives can speak without being censored. Just yesterday, Twitter pulled Steven Crowder down. They are acting as ruthless censors. It's going to get worse. And it does tell you something. It tells you that they're afraid. They don't believe their ideas are right. They are authoritarians and statists, and they don't want to defend their ideas because they can't. Those of us who know what we believe in free speech. None of us want to see socialists censored, silenced, canceled, or blocked. AOC and Bernie and the rest of them, they can say their silly ideas, and we'll engage on the merits because we actually believe in freedom, and that is a much better message than the message of unlimited government power, which is today's Democratic Party.
Well, Senator, the real fascists are on the left, and we know that. Speaking of that, when are the fences around the Capitol going to come down? This is unsightly, unseemly, unnecessary. Yeah. And by the way, the left has said for a long time, walls and fences don't work. So when is that coming down?
I don't know. It's a bizarre thing. The Democrats, they're talking about leaving, the National Guard troops have been there now. They're talking about leaving them there through the end of March at least. It is sad to go to the Capitol each day and to see it as a militarized. It's like go to Baghdad. I mean, it's, these giant fences with barbed wire. Our Capitol should be free and open and beautiful. And the message we're sending to the world of fear. And part of today's Democratic Party is a spirit of fear. Take COVID. Look, COVID is serious. It is a disease that has taken far too many lives. But you listen to Democrats. They say you got to wear a mask no matter what. Doesn't matter if you've had the sickness and are better. Doesn't matter if you've had the vaccine. And one mask isn't enough. You need to wear 2 or 3 or 15 masks. There's a level of what the hell are you people talking about? Like it doesn't. The Democratic Party today is selling a spirit of fear, and I think having the fences and razor wire and National Guard troop is part of how they justify absolute power. And so I think, of course, we should take it down. Now, does that mean we shouldn't protect and secure the Capitol? Of course not. And what happened on January 6th was a terrorist attack. It was horrific. We just had a long hearing yesterday with law enforcement from the Capitol on why that happened and what could have been done to prevent it and to stop the Capitol from being breached. Those questions need to be asked, but the answer isn't to turn the United States Capitol into a military base. The answer instead is a law enforcement answer.
Right. All right, we'll let you go. Thank you as always, and if you want to take the family and escape, come to the Riverwalk in San Antonio when we get back to some sort of normalcy, and we'll buy you a margarita or two. All right?
I'll do it, and I'll bring Snowflake.
Yeah, I love the name of that dog. That is so cool. Thank you, Ted. Thank you, Senator. Appreciate you.
Sir.
Take care. Bye-bye.